Hi guys, this is a short video on how to use this database, the UQMed Learning Activities database, accessible on the OME folder. So when you open up the database, this is what you see, a series of buttons here which you can interact with. There is a set of tables, etc. on the side here. You don't need to worry about those. If you want to get rid of them, you can just get rid of them like that. So this is the main screen, and you can see that you have a number of options here, and we can always change these options or add more to them as we go and as we need them. The main one you'd be using is edit activities and print timetables. They're pretty explanatory. If you want to edit, add whatever activities to the database, this is where you do it. And if you want to print timetables, that's where you do it there. Teaching Hours Blueprint is useful when you want to get information about how many hours from different disciplines happen in your course over the different modules. And managing staff is about adding new people if they're not already existing. Exit is exit. So let's just have a look at edit for the moment, and you can see when you click on that menu, I can go back to the main menu by clicking there, go back to edit again. This is the edit menu. There's two basic approaches here. One is to look at activities by course or by module in a way that lets you quickly see what they are and then further edit them. Or if you want, you can edit an activity by an individual ID. We'll come back to that later. And finally, if you need to add a new activity, just do it here. If you need to delete an activity, I'd just suggest you just change the title to delete, and we can remove that. It's pretty easy to delete, but deleting things in a database is a one-way street. You can't get it back, so if you're not sure what to do, just change the title to "this needs to be deleted" or something like that. We can find it and remove it. So looking at the activities, let's say by module, if I click on that button, I get this menu. The abbreviations for the module are pretty explanatory, but let's say CBS, and when we run that, we see a listing of, I'll get rid of that. We see a listing of all the activities, the type of activity they are, whether they be a lecture, a CBL, Practute, or online lecture, their title, who the principal teacher is, where they take place if they're a live lecture, and the discipline that they belong to. There's a couple of other things on this to note. Firstly, this is the week, the Faculty of Medicine week of the semester 1 to 16, in which they occur, and they're grouped by that. There's also this order, which is the order that they occur in the week. If I change that order, so if I make this online lecture number 1, and I refresh that, you'll see that it will now, it's now up here. Because it's been sorted 1, 1, 2, 2. So you can see immediately there's a few problems here. I'll make this the last one again, which is 18, and I'll make this one, I'm not sure which one comes first, but I'll make that 3. So generally speaking, there shouldn't be any overlap of numbers in a week, and then you know you've got them right and you've got them in the order that you want them. The convention I'm using is putting CBLs first, then the lectures, then pracs and tutes, and then online stuff such as lectures or pracs come last. And so that's repeated down here to go to week 5. Same process again. I'll change that 1, 2, 3 down to 15, etc. So the next thing here is this slot, and this is where the main purpose for this is to list the 8 or up to 8 lectures that you can have in the week according to where you want them in order in that week. You just have to list them 1 to 8. The system will know, depending on whether it's an odd or an even week, where and what slot they're in and what time, and etc. So you don't have to worry about that, but you just need to order them in the order that you want those lectures to appear and in the slot. So basically, this will mean Monday morning 8, Monday morning 9, Tuesday 8, 9, Wednesday 8, 9, and then these ones, I think Thursday or Friday, depending on the odd or even week, 8 and 9. Maybe this is 10 and 11, I can't remember. Doesn't matter, just list them in the order you want. If you need to edit one of these because it's not right, you just go to the edit button here, and what this is doing is it's actually opening up a form which you will see elsewhere. It's the same form as you'd see if you just chose to view one individual activity, and that is a form that lets you edit other stuff about that activity. You could change it if it moved to another module, but it hasn't. You can change the week, you can change the order of the activity, which we were doing manually on the other page, but you can do it here as well. You can choose the activity type. There's a list of them. That might change in time, but for the moment that's what it shows. And this is a time slot. You might remember previously it said like lecture 1 to 8, but it's a bit more obvious here because as well as putting in that number, which is 2, it's got a little description of it here. So if you're not sure what the number is, you can come here and, oh, it's a gross anatomy prac 50, okay, and just click on that, and that would change it to 50. If I jump back there, there it's changed to 50. I'll change that back to 2 here. So I'm changing the same data, it's just being represented in different ways. And now it's changed back to the week 2 because I just changed it on the other page. Is it live or online? You don't know. Activity notes is useful. I think if you've got anything about that lecture that you know, particularly key learning objectives or a brief summary of that lecture. I saw Sharon has created some things for tutors. They're really useful bits of information to have for all sorts of reasons. Just put it in here. You can put as much writing as you want in there, and that's helpful in letting other people know what that thing's about. The venue, if there's other venues that aren't there, just write them in, they'll appear. The discipline, physiology, you can change. You can't change. I don't want you to change these disciplines. They may not fit perfectly for you, but it's important that we have a similar sort of language. So these are there's a little problem there, but these are a standard set of disciplines that we're using. How long does the thing go for? It's usually an hour, but for a prac it might be 2 hours. And this is for if you're the administrator or the module coordinator. Yeah, I did contact Terry. Yes, he did confirm that, and that's done. There is a little tick button here which we will use once we know anyone who has access to this database knows that the files for that lecture are on Blackboard. They can tick that, and we'll use that to create a workflow that says, like, if this isn't ticked and the lecture's coming up, then someone needs to get them. So we'll use that later, but for the moment not really used much, but that's why that's there. If someone's giving the lecture and you can't find them, firstly you can look to see, Terry, this is a really important part, look to see if the email address is there, because we'll use the database to communicate with people. And obviously if there's someone else, if it's someone else you want, then okay, that's one of the things about databases. This is actually being filtered because I went from the previous form and just found Terry. If I unclick that, it's now unfiltered, and I can choose Claire, and it will fill in her details, or I can choose whoever he is and it'll fill in his details, or I can just write Terry in and it'll fill him back in again. So this tells me the school he belongs to, his email, his title, surname. There's also a tick box here for new lecturer, and again this will be part of a workflow to say if this person's never given a lecture before, tick that, and that tells the people at the site where the lecture is happening that they should go and help this person set up, make sure they're okay. Terry doesn't need that, so that's fine. If you need to add a new staff member, just do it there, and etc. This thing here is really about notes. If you want to make comments, sometimes it's symposium and there's multiple people, just put them in there. At the moment we're only linking this back to the principal teacher. So that's about adding and editing activities in this format. And if you want to close a window, just right click it and close it. And I'll just go back to this other thing here, which is I don't know what those numbers are. If you know the number of the activity, you can type that in. It was activity 677, happens to be that lecture, and you can come there and edit it, and it's exactly the same process, same form. If you want to add a new activity, click that button. It's just a blank form, fill it in, module, week, etc., as you would with anything else, and it'll be saved there. Okay, so that's the editing activities thing. The only other thing I'll show you very briefly is the idea of printing timetables. This is much more obvious how that works. I'll choose the module again, I'll choose CVS again. When I do that, I get a listing of a printout. You know, we can change the format of this, but it's showing obviously the type, the date, the time, which is coming from tables which you don't have to worry about. These will be generated automatically. The title, the venue, and the discipline that's involved. It also shows this ID, which is a number you could type in if you wanted to find that lecture from Tony and edit it quickly. Because you had this printout, you know, you could just go back to that edit activity and edit the individual activity and type 1003, and there's his Tony Brown's lecture on whatever it was. This button here usually just is another way of closing stuff. So jumping back here, so if you want to print that, which you may well do, this is one thing you might a bit less intuitive about access. You need to go to the external data menu up here, and you can import that to Excel as a spreadsheet, but this is formatted, it's a report, and we really want to send that out as a, we could email it to someone. I want it as a PDF, and there I go, it's there already. Or I could just save it as a PDF file, which is putting it in my folder. I'll give it, change the title, CVS module report. Generally it won't matter which size you choose. If it's got images in it, you want to choose standard, but these don't. And publish, and it's just ignore that, just close that step there, and in a second somewhere else on my computer it will open up a PDF file. I think it's just saved that PDF somewhere. So, and you could go and find that and save it, email it, whatever you want, put it on Blackboard. This actually is in print preview mode. You'll see that it's listed as a series of pages, 1 page, 1 week. Again, we can format these in whatever format you want that suits you, headers, footers, whatever you want. You can make it look as nice or as ugly as you want. I'll close that, and really they're the main functions. There's lots of other things we could do. We could look at, give reports of, you know, what a person's going to teach in the year. We could give all sorts of reports, but the main thing is to get the data in, have it as accurate as you can, and that will drive a lot of other information that we can use in the program. Thanks a lot.